Topic is Lesson 2 from Hornbill, page 13. We are not afraid to die if we can all be together, by Gordon Cook and Alan East. So you can find Gordon Cook picture here in the early years and in older years. About Gordon Cook. Gordon Cook was the director of Internet Bookshop in Cambridge. He was born in England in July 1938. In 1976, he took his family and voyaged along the route taken by Captain James Cook. And it is believed Gordon Cook is the descendant of Captain James Cook. He wrote a book, Schooner to the Southern Oceans, in which he recorded the bold feat of his family during the voyage. He was awarded the Lady Swathing Trophy for his outstanding seamanship and navigation skills. Let's have a glimpse of the characters in the story. Gordon Cook, he is the narrator and 37 years old businessman. Next is his wife, Mary. Suzanne, his daughter, who is 7 years old. Jonathan, his son, 6 years old. And we have two other characters. Larry Vigil, who belongs to America, he is an American. And Herb Seigler, he belongs to Switzerland. Both are crewmen. Around the world voyage. The narrator wanted to duplicate the round the world voyage made 200 years earlier by Captain James Cook. So for the past 16 years, he and his wife spent their leisure time honing their seafaring skills in British waters. Honing means improving. And seafaring skills means it involves the knowledge of navigation, handling a boat and its equipments. So they were spending 16 full years in learning all these skills. Finally, in July 1976, he, along with his family, set sail from Plymouth, England. So the previous slide highlights narrator's dream and their strenuous preparation, both mentally and physically, to undertake the long and challenging sea voyage. Here you have a schooner. Schooner means a sailing ship with 2 or more masts. So the name of this schooner is the Wave Walker. The schooner was a 23-meter, 30-ton wooden-hulled beauty. Wooden-hulled. Hulled means the main body of the ship. That includes bottom, sides and the deck. Okay, all were made of wood. It was professionally built, especially for the purpose of the round the world voyage. The narrator had spent months fitting it out and testing it in the roughest weather. The journey began pleasantly in Wave Walker. So, this journey was planned for 3 years actually. The round the world voyage was planned for 3 years. Okay. The first leg here refers to part, the first part of the journey. Okay, the journey is divided into several parts. and the first part of the journey was from Plymouth to the Cape Town, which is in South Africa. The journey, planned for 3 years across 105,000 kilometers, passed pleasantly from Plymouth to Cape Town in the west coast of Africa. Before heading east, that is, before carrying on their journey, they took on two more crewmen. You definitely know their names: Larry Vigil, an American, and Herb Seigler, a Swiss, to help them tackle the southern Indian Ocean. So the purpose of taking two more crewmen was to tackle. They know the techniques because they are the seasoned sailors. Okay, so they knew the tactics to tackle the southern Indian Ocean, which is considered to be one of the world's roughest seas. Celebration in the sea. Let's see what celebration they had. It was the second day out of Cape Town. It was not the second day of the journey. Remember, children, it is the second day out of the Cape Town. That is after the first part of the journey. Okay, from the Cape Town port, they moved, and it was the second day from there. They encountered strong gales. Encountered. We came across this word in the previous lesson itself. Encountered. Encountered means unexpected meeting with danger. Okay, remember they encountered, Aram and Murad encountered John Byro. Similarly, they encountered strong gales. Gales here means extremely strong winds. So they had to meet unexpectedly the wrath of nature, that is strong winds. The size of the waves, 15 meters, it alarmed the narrator. Despite the atrocious weather, the family celebrated a wonderful holiday complete with a Christmas tree. Atrocious weather. Atrocious means unpleasant. Though the outer circumstances were unpleasant, the family celebrated a complete Christmas. So that also indicates that they are in the month of December. The month of December. Okay, December 25th. Remember, they started their journey in July 1976. Now they are in the month of December 1976. Okay. Okay, it's still worsening. Disaster strikes. On January 2nd, 1977, so they moved on to the next year, okay, the waves were gigantic. Imagine a giant, okay, the waves were similar to a giant, gigantic, huge in size. To slow down, so the wise thing to do now is to slow down the ship, okay. So to slow down the ship, what were the measures taken? They dropped the storm jib. Jib means sail, okay, and they lashed a heavy mooring rope. Lashed means fastened or tied together. They tied together the rope in loop. Loop means the roundabout ways, okay, in loop across the stern. You know from the picture of that ship, parts of the ship. Stern means the back part of the ship, okay. So they double lashed everything. So once again, they ensured that they were all tightly tied, and the things were tightly tied, and they went through their life raft drill. Okay, went through means practiced. What did they practice? Their life raft drill. Life raft drill means how to climb into the lifeboat at the time of danger. So they practiced all those skills once again. What else did they do? They attached lifelines, okay, and donned oil skins and life jackets and waited. So they wore, okay, don means they put on the oil skins. Oil skins are more like your raincoat, okay, the texture, okay, and the life jackets that protects you, that keeps you sinking, Okay, I'm sorry, that keeps you floating in water. It prevents you from sinking in. And the life jacket, and they all waited. What did they wait for? They waited for the impending disaster. A tremendous explosion shook the deck, and a torrent of green and white waters broke over the ship. So you can find from the picture the torrent, huge waves, okay, huge sized waves which were of green and white color. It broke over the ship. So the slide highlights the safeguarding measures taken by the crew against the impending disaster. The next slide, you can see the state of the boat, right? It's almost capsizing. It's about to turn upside down. The narrator's head smashed into the wheel. You can find the narrator here and the wheel is here, okay? The narrator's head smashed into the wheel. He flew overboard and sank below the waves. So what happened? You can imagine the ship was disturbed from its normal routine, and the waves and the wind threw the narrator overboard and he fell into the sea. When his head popped out of water, you remember they were all wearing the life jackets and the oilskins, so they cannot go down, okay? They keep floating. So immediately his head popped out of water, and what he saw was, he saw Wave Walker nearly capsizing. Capsizing means overturning. The narrator's lifeline jerked taut, and he grabbed the guardrails of Wave Walker and sailed through the air into Wave Walker's main boom. Okay. So usually what we call a lifeline is something which we depend upon. Okay. So at this point of time, what is our lifeline? The mobile phones are our lifeline because we are very much dependent on it, right? So what is the lifeline here? Lifeline here is the Wave Walker. They have to depend on Wave Walker to complete their voyage. Okay, at this point of time, what happened? The Wave Walker gave a quick jerk. Jerk means and quickly, and taut. It pulled tightly. It came to the normal position. The waves tossed him around the deck. His left ribs cracked and mouth started bleeding with broken teeth. So it is a miraculous scene here. He was thrown overboard, and very quickly he grabbed the guardrails of Wave Walker, and he came back to the ship. Okay, but he was unable to maintain his balance. The waves tossed him around the deck. Okay, like how you throw the doll here and there. The doll does not have its own power to keep to one's place. Okay, it throws wherever you indicate. Similarly, he was fully under the control of the waves. The waves tossed him around the deck. As a result, what happened? His left ribs cracked and mouth started bleeding with broken teeth. So this slide shows that Gordon was thrown overboard, miraculously back on the board. He suffered multiple broken ribs. So you can find the slant here. Okay, the ship is not straight, almost like moving to one side, like falling to one side. Somehow the narrator found the wheel, lined up the stern for the next wave, and hung on. Okay, so this is the spirit of a soldier or a fighter. Okay, you don't lose your hope. Once again, you stand up and say, I'm ready for the fight. So he was also ready to face another wave. The decks were smashed and the ship was sinking. Mary took the wheel and the narrator scrambled for the hatch. So now comes his wife to help him. Okay, she is taking charge of the wheel, whereas the narrator goes to find a way to help the situation. Okay, he scrambled. Scrambled means walked unsteadily or ran unsteadily for the hatch. Hatch is the opening entrance. The narrator half swam and half crawled, went to the cabin, and he found Susan with a big bump over over her eyes, but could not attend to her. He found a big bump. Bump means a swelling over her eyes. Probably, while dashing, she would have dashed herself against something. But he could not attend to her because at that point of time, what was more important? The safety of all the people were more important than tending to one individual. Okay, so he immediately kept moving ahead. He took hammer, screws, and canvas and struggled back to the deck. Larry and Herb, what were they doing? They were pumping out water like madmen because allowing water inside is not safe for the ship. Starboard side bashed open. Starboard, you would have seen in the picture. Starboard is the right side of the ship. Okay, and they were taking in water with every wave that broke over them. He stretched canvas and secured waterproof hatch covers across the gaping holes. Gaping holes means widely open holes. So we find each one on the board trying their level best, okay, at their own level to counter the emergency situation. More problems arose as the boat's engine and all electrical systems were underwater. So things were getting worse. All the electrical items, definitely it will not go hand in hand, this electrical items and water. The electrical pumps short circuited. Okay, shock, you say current shock. Okay, electrical pumps short circuited, and the hand pumps, the manual pumps, they were blocked with debris. What is debris? Broken pieces of materials. Okay, so they were blocked with debris floating all around, and the water level was rising alarmingly. Alarmingly means greater rate than what they expected. Fortunately, 2 spare hand pumps and an electrical pump saved under the chart room. Chart room is a place where maps are kept. Okay, and so fortunately, so one positive sign, one stroke of luck is 2 spare hand pumps were there and 1 electrical pump was there, and they started using it to expel the water on board. Expel means to throw out. Their routine means their regular work. What were their regular work? 3 regular work they did: pumping, steering, and working with radio. Working with radio, what were they doing with radio? Were they hearing songs, listening songs? No, they were sending signals. They were sending emergency signals. Okay, so the 3 routine work that they were doing is pumping out water, steering the ship, and another person was continuously giving signals so that the nearby ships may come and help them. Since they were in the remote corner of the world, their Mayday calls had no replies. Here is the right word. It's called as Mayday. Mayday calls. Mayday calls are actually the distress signals sent through the radio by the ships facing trouble in the sea. Probably some ships moving in the neighborhood may receive the signal and come to their help. Okay, so the 3 continuous work that they were doing is pumping, steering, and working with the radio, so that is sending mayday calls. But where the mayday calls responded, no, they had no replies, because the reason is they were in the remote corner of the world. Signals will not work where the signals cannot be identified. Susan's head had swollen, and the child didn't complain about her pains, as she didn't want to disturb the parents' focus while fighting against crisis. So that was a great help from Susan. She did not complain. Now January 3rd, okay, the days are moving like years. January 3rd, 1977, the water level was sufficiently under control. Thank God. Inspection. So now he had time to inspect. Okay, so he went around the ship and he inspected. And the inspection revealed that many of the starboard hull planks, hull means I told you it's wooden, okay? Starboard wooden planks and main frames were smashed. Smashed means destroyed, okay? Broken to pieces. They were smashed and were held together only by the ship's internal fittings. The crew survived for 15 hours since the wave hit. The crew survived, but the wave walker had been severely damaged. The crew survived, but wave walker had been severely damaged. Since it would not hold together for too long, they planned for an immediate destination. It would not hold together. Hold together means the ship will not be in its normalcy for too long. Any time it may break. Okay, any time it may give way. Any time it may crumble down. Okay, so immediate action to be taken was they had to reach a destination. Okay, somewhere near they have to land and repair the ship. He checked the charts and calculated that Ile Amsterdam, a French scientific base, was in a few hundred kilometers to the east. So when he checked the chart, he got to know that there was a very small island, Ile Amsterdam, which served as a French scientific base, was in a few hundred kilometers away to the east. On 4th January, the next day, after 36 hours of continuous pumping, they cleared the last few centimeters of water. So they had to be in constant pumping to reach this present state. That is only now only a few centimeters of water was remaining. Okay. They hoisted the storm jib. Okay. They hoisted the storm jib and headed for the two islands that seemed to be pinpricks in the vast ocean. So now they were ready to move. So as a result, they put up the storm jib. Storm jib you would have seen in the picture of the how a jib looks like. Okay, and they headed means moved towards the two islands. Their target was two islands. Okay, they may reach any one. They don't know exactly because the weather condition was not good and the sea was not in a condition where they can target one island. Okay, two islands were there nearby. One was Ile Amsterdam and another was St. Paul's. Okay, they seem to be like pinpricks in the vast ocean. Pinpricks. So this particular usage is to tell us that the islands appeared very tiny, so tiny, like the pinheads in the map of a vast ocean. Compared to the vast ocean, okay, when you compare the islands and the vast ocean, the islands look like the heads of the pins. Okay, you take a pin, bell pin, and see how tiny is that head. So it was so tiny in the vast ocean. Now they have to hunt for that particular ocean. Is it possible? Let's see. They had their first meal in almost 2 days. What did they have? Some corned beef and cracker biscuits. So for 2 days they did not have anything, and now after 2 days they had the mental peace to eat something. At 4 p.m., the wind was back to 40 knots. Knots means not our rope knot. Knots here refer to the nautical miles per hour. Okay, the calculation of speed. Nautical miles per hour, and the seas were getting higher once again. The weather continued to deteriorate. Deteriorate means go down. Okay, throughout the night, go for worse. The weather again worsened. A beautiful picture of Gordon Cook's family. So this slide talks about the moral and emotional support of his family. So for any person to attain success, he needs to have the support of the family. Let's see how Janardhan helped him. Janardhan said, "Daddy, we are not afraid of dying if we can all be together. You, Mummy, Sue, and I." So the 6 years old boy showed his courage and promised his dad, he assured his dad that he was not afraid of dying. Okay, so that was a positive boost for his daddy. He did not want his daddy break down. Okay, so that was a moral boost from Gordon Cook's son Janardhan. And Sue, that is Suzanne, in spite of her injuries, gave him a card. She had made caricatures. Caricatures are scribblings actually. Okay, not the regular drawing. Caricatures of father and mother, like stick figures. Inside the card was a message. What did the message say? "Oh, how I love you both. This is to say thank you, and let's hope for the best." This is and A-N-D, okay? This is to say thank you, and let's hope for the best. So from Suzanne, this was the positive wave, and Mary sat with him, holding his hands tightly. Children, there's a proverb, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Okay, one picture is equal to 1,000 words. What 1,000 words express can easily be expressed by one picture. Similarly, a hold of hand, it expresses many emotions. So that is what is happening here. Their intimate bonding with each other is revealed in this slide. Okay, just go through what is there in the slide. It's a sextant, it's an instrument. Okay, it measures the angular distance between two visible objects. Let's go to the lesson. Overwhelmed by his children's love, wife's trust and faith, and the crewman's support, the narrator determined to fight the sea with everything he had. Now, renewed hope, like the hero, goes re-entry of the hero. He goes to fight the sea. He decided to protect the weakened starboard with the undamaged port hull, facing the oncoming waves using an improvised sea anchor of heavy nylon rope and two 22-liter plastic barrels of paraffin. On January 6th, Wavewalker rode out of the storm with the wind easing. So, what did he do to safeguard the ship? He decided to protect the weakened starboard. Starboard is the right side of the ship. It is already weakened. How did he protect it? By taking the undamaged port hull. Hull is the wooden frame I told you. Facing the oncoming waves using an improvised sea anchor. A spare anchor was there with a heavy nylon rope and two 22-liter plastic barrels of paraffin. With all this, he went for another fight against the sea. And thank God the wind was easing. Easing means becoming calm. Okay, and the Wavewalker rode out of the storm. He tried to get a reading on the sextant. Now that everything was okay, it has not come to normal, it is okay. At this time, he wanted to reach the safe place, so he gave a reading on the sextant. So you'd have seen the background of the slide, the sextant picture. It's an instrument to measure the angular distance between two objects. So this is actually the nautical chart present in the chart room. In the chart room, he worked on wind speeds, changes of course, drift and current in an effort to calculate their position. So now he wants to find out where were they exactly and where they have to move. Okay, he checked and rechecked his calculations. The main compass was lost and the spare had not been corrected to magnetic variation. Again there was a slip. Okay, it was not favorable for them. So he estimated the influence of westerly currents. At 2 p.m. he went on deck and instructed Larry to steer means change, okay, to change the direction of the ship to 185 degrees. So all this shows this exemplary courage, calmness, presence of mind, the sound navigational skills displayed by the narrator. He knows what to do and when to do. So if they were lucky, they would get to the island at about 5 p.m. So this was his calculation and it was his conviction too. With a heavy heart. Why heavy heart? Heavy heart means very sad heart. Because he was not sure. He had made the calculation. Unless and until they reach the island, it is not sure that they are safe. Okay. So with a heavy heart, the narrator went below, climbed on his bunk, and amazingly, because of all this tiresome job, he dozed off. Dozed off means slept. When he woke up, it was 6 p.m. Oh, he thought that they had missed the island. He was greatly worried about the sails and how to face the westerly winds. At that time, Janardhan and Sue came one behind the other and hugged him happily. Joe said, "You are the best daddy and the best captain in the world." And Sue shouted cheerfully, "Daddy, you found the island." What do you find? This is the picture of Ile Amsterdam. God was on their side, and unbelievingly he rushed on deck. He was greatly relieved to see the stark outline of Ile Amsterdam. Just imagine, children, put yourself in the shoes of Gordon Cook. Okay, how happy he was on seeing the island. It was only a bleak piece of volcanic rock with little vegetation, but he felt that is the most beautiful island in the world. Tell me, children, why he feels so? Yes, because this island provided them safety from the huge waves, as well an opportunity to repair the damaged ship. So he felt this island was the most beautiful island in the world. They anchored offshore for the night, and the next morning, all 28 inhabitants of the island cheered the crew as they got on shore. With land under my feet again, dot dot dot. So you can, this is left for your imagination. With land under my feet again. This is the uh, words of Gordon Cook. With land under my feet again. He never ever believed that such a thing would happen. Okay, land under his feet again. It means he is no more in the sea. He is no more in the dangerous sea. He is safe on the land. Okay, he is in the hands of safety. With land under my feet again, his thoughts sped speedily back. Okay, he was trying to thank all the people who paved way for such a huge success. This was a huge success for them. No, safeguarding his family from uh, a dangerous storm. So this background, the slide is actually they made in papers. They were the center figure in papers. Amazing tale of family. Okay, and about their voyage. So now coming back, the narrator was grateful. Number one, to Larry and Herbie, who were cheerful and optimistic under the direst stress. Secondly, he was thankful and grateful to Mary, who stayed at the wheel for all those crucial hours. Being a woman, no, she had her own impediments, but even then, okay, courageously she spent her time at the wheel encountering the danger. And most importantly, he had to thank his 7 years old daughter, who did not want the elders to worry about her head injury, and his 6 years old son, who was not afraid to die, who assured him that he was not afraid of death. And here we have to remember that the narrator's sharp presence of mind and his instrumental qualities are also pivotal in making the journey successful. Okay, this photo, children, he is Gordon Cook. Okay, and he is being awarded the Lady Swathing Trophy for his outstanding seamanship and navigation skills. So, with this photo, let's see the significance of the title. We have come to the end of the lesson. Okay, how the title is appropriate for the lesson. The title is actually taken from Jonathan's remark, "We are not afraid to die if we can all be together." The next point that you have to remember is the title brings out the bravery, grit, and the courage of the narrator's family and the love each member has for the other. This is actually the significance of the title. When such a question is asked, you have to present these points. And this is the book written by Gordon Cook, the Captain James Cook Bicentenary Voyage, 1776 to 1976, and the title is Schooner to the Southern Oceans. If you are eager to know more about this mentioned voyage, you can read this book. Okay, children? With this, thank you, and this is your GS ma'am signing off.